There's a reason why some of the greatest breakthroughs in life happen in the quiet. It's not when the crowds are cheering or when the world is watching. Revelation, the kind that changes lives, the kind that redirects paths, rarely happens in the noise. It is in the stillness, in the moments when we are alone, that the deepest truths emerge. Think about it when you're constantly surrounded by people, opinions, and external demands. It's easy to lose sight of your own voice. The noise of life drowns out the whispers of your heart. The endless chatter of expectations can muffle the callings that are uniquely yours. Isolation isn't just an absence of others, it's the presence of an opportunity to reconnect with yourself. It creates space to reflect, to think, and to truly listen, not to the world, but to your own soul. Throughout history, some of the most transformative moments have been born out of isolation. Innovators, leaders, and visionaries didn't discover their purpose in a crowded room. They found it in solitude, away from distractions, where they could hear the rhythm of their own heartbeat and the calling of their destiny. Moses found clarity on the mountain. Elijah heard the still, small voice, not in the wind, not in the fire, but in the silence. These moments of aloneness were not accidents, they were appointments. Isolation forces you to confront what you might otherwise avoid. It's a mirror showing you your fears, your dreams, and your potential. In the busyness of life, it's easy to ignore the deeper questions: who am I? What do I want? Why am I here? But in the stillness of isolation, those questions can no longer be suppressed. They rise to the surface, demanding answers. And it's in answering them that revelation comes. It's also in isolation that clarity emerges. When you strip away the noise, the expectations, and the distractions, you start to see things as they truly are. Ideas that were once blurry come into focus. Desires that were buried under the weight of routine begin to resurface. You begin to discern between what's important and what's just noise. Isolation is not a punishment, it's a refining process. Like gold being purified in the fire, solitude burns away the unnecessary so that what remains is pure, authentic, and true. It creates room for creativity to flow, for inspiration to take root, and for purpose to bloom. In those quiet moments, the seeds of vision are planted, seeds that, when nurtured, have the power to change not only your life, but the lives of others. When you're isolated, you're also stripped of distractions and crutches. It's easy to lean on the opinions of others or to look to the world for validation. But in solitude, there's no one to lean on but yourself, and that's when you discover just how strong and capable you truly are. That's when you realize that the answers you've been seeking externally have been within you all along. Strength isn't something that simply appears, it's forged. It's shaped and refined, not in the presence of applause, but in the silence of solitude. There's a misconception that strength comes from the visible victories, from standing in front of a cheering crowd or being surrounded by support. But the truth is, real strength, the kind that sustains you through life's storms, is built in the hidden places, in the moments when you are utterly alone. In solitude, you are left to wrestle with yourself. There are no distractions to shield you, no noise to drown out your fears or doubts. It's in these moments of aloneness where the battle begins, the battle to overcome insecurities, to face past failures, and to confront the parts of yourself you might wish to ignore. And it's in this battle that strength is forged. Each time you choose to rise instead of retreat, each time you face yourself with honesty, you grow stronger. Solitude forces you to be your own encourager. When there's no one else to tell you to keep going, You learn to dig deep and find that fire within. You learn to speak life to yourself when the silence feels heavy. That inner voice, the one that tells you to press on despite the odds, that's where true resilience is born. Because the strength that comes from solitude isn't dependent on others, it's anchored in who you are. It's also in solitude that discipline is cultivated. Without an audience, without external validation, you're left with one question: are you willing to do the work, even when no one is watching? Quiet moments test your commitment. Show up when others are there to see and to cheer you on. When it's just you, when the room is empty and the reward feels distant, that's where discipline is born. That's where you learn to push forward simply because it's necessary, not because it's applauded. Consider the metaphor of an athlete. The strength they display on the field or in competition isn't built under the lights, it's built in the unseen hours of training. It's built in the early mornings, the late nights, and the countless repetitions done in solitude. The victories they achieve publicly are the result of battles won privately. The same is true for us. The strength we show in public, whether it's in our careers, our relationships, or our challenges, comes from the work we do in private, in the solitude where no one else is watching. Solitude also has a way of stripping away excuses. When you're alone, you can't blame others for your shortcomings or look to anyone else to carry your load. You're faced with the reality of your choices and the weight of your responsibilities. This isn't a comfortable place to be, but it's a necessary one. Because in taking full ownership of your life, you begin to realize your own power. You learn that strength isn't something that's handed to you, it's something you build. Piece by piece, moment by moment, in the quiet and the stillness. In solitude, you also develop endurance. It's easy to feel strong when life is easy, but solitude teaches you how to endure when the weight feels heavy and the path feels long. It's in these moments when you're tempted to give up that you learn to persevere. And with each step forward, you grow stronger. That kind of strength born in solitude is unshakable. It's the strength that can weather storms, face giants, and keep going long after others have given up. Greatness isn't handed to anyone, it is cultivated, often in the hidden and quiet places of life. Solitude is not a punishment, it's a preparation ground. It's in the moments when we're alone, away from the distractions and noise of the world, that the foundation for greatness is laid. The solitude you might fear is the very thing shaping you for the future you're destined to step into. Solitude is where you confront the weight of your purpose. When you're alone, there's no crowd to shield you, no external opinions to sway you. It's just you, your thoughts, and the vision planted deep within you. That kind of stillness allows you to wrestle with what really matters. It forces you to ask the hard questions: am I ready for what I'm praying for? Do I have the character to sustain the success I desire? In the quiet, you're not only preparing for greatness, you're being prepared by greatness itself. Solitude sharpens you, making you ready to carry the weight of the responsibilities that come with destiny. Look at history, and you'll see that many of the world's most transformative leaders and visionaries endured seasons of solitude before stepping into their greatness. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before returning to Egypt to lead a nation. David tended sheep in isolation before he stood before Goliath. Even Jesus retreated to the wilderness to fast and pray before launching his ministry. These seasons of solitude weren't delays, they were divine appointments. They were times of preparation where the individuals were shaped, molded, and equipped for the monumental tasks ahead. Solitude teaches you discipline. In the stillness, there are no shortcuts, no applause to keep you motivated, no validation from others. It's just you and the work that needs to be done. It's in these moments that you learn to stay focused, to remain consistent, even when the reward feels distant. Discipline forged in solitude becomes a muscle that you carry into every challenge and opportunity. It ensures that when greatness calls, you are ready to answer not with hesitation, but with confidence and preparation. Solitude also refines your vision. In the busyness of life, it's easy for your dreams to get clouded by distractions, opinions, and competing priorities. But in solitude, you can see clearly. It's in the quiet moments that your purpose becomes undeniable. The unnecessary falls away, and what remains is the pure, unfiltered version of who you are and what you're meant to do. This clarity is crucial because greatness requires focus. Without solitude, it's easy to lose sight of the path you're meant to walk. Solitude builds strength, not just physical or mental strength, but the inner strength that greatness demands. When you're alone, you learn how to encourage yourself. You learn how to push forward without the crutch of external validation. You learn to trust your instincts, to rely on the still small voice within you that guides you toward your purpose. This strength becomes your anchor when challenges arise, because greatness isn't just about reaching the top. It's about staying there when the winds of life try to knock you down. And let's not forget, solitude fosters wisdom. It's in the quiet that you gain perspective, that you reflect on your journey and learn from your experiences. The wisdom gained in solitude equips you to lead, to make decisions that aren't just beneficial in the moment, but impactful for generations to come. Greatness requires a deep well of understanding, and solitude is where that understanding is cultivated. The greatest achievements are born out of seasons where no one else sees the work being done. These seasons of solitude are where character is built, where resilience is tested, and where vision is refined. Solitude strips away the superficial and forces you to confront the essence of who you are and who you're becoming. It is a sacred, transformative process that readies you to stand in the fullness of your purpose. In closing, remember that solitude is not your enemy, it's your ally. It's the sacred space where clarity is found, strength is forged, and greatness is prepared. Embrace those moments of aloneness, not with fear, but with expectation, knowing that every quiet season has a purpose. When you emerge from solitude, you won't just step into the next chapter of your life, you'll step into it ready, refined, and equipped to fulfill your destiny. So lean into the process, trust the preparation, and let the power of solitude shape you into the greatness you were born to be. G.